Hey everybody, it's time for Garden 30. Hitting it a little late today. It's 5:15 and I've got the following mess in front of me, and the reason I'm late is I was playing with technology. So let me know if the audio is a little weird or something cuz I am going through my Scarlett Solo box that I usually do my podcast on, but I'm using a different microphone. So I don't know if I have the gain right or not. And I did not bring my studio speakers out here, but the mess in front of me is what I have to work on. And Tactical was going to come up here and help. Can you put your dog away, please? I know. Sorry. I was going to ask you anyway because Cece has been asking to go out for a while. Anyway, Float's not working, so we're going to remove it. I've been having a lot of trouble with Float live stream service. I don't know if anybody else is, but Float has been a bit of a mess lately for me. Chestnut, leave it. Dogs were escalating a little bit. I have a dog who needs to pee, and she's barking at Tactical's dog. But that's the mess I have in front of me. Hello from Pennsylvania. So Tactical's going to kind of help me do a project here, but he's also going to help me look at comments on this. And I'm able to use StreamYard because this one's close to my house. So today's project is that mess you see before you. What do you see there? Besides the Ryobi leaf blower left out. What plant is that in front of you? You know what that is? That's the last wall of tomatoes. And I've pretty much caught up on weeding. I'm going to do another scale of weeding over the weekend. I'll be on the road next week. So Garden 30s are on hold for 4 days, which means I'll come back to a freaking mess probably. But I am going to, instead of just doing 5 days this week, I'm going to go through the weekend. I'm going to do Monday and then Tuesday I head out. And I don't get back till Friday. Welcome from Michigan, Tim. PA Prepper. Or UP. I see. JS is PA Prepper. I know who that is. Anyway, those are tomatoes. And my wall of tomatoes is supposed to climb up the side of the house. In order to do that, it needs trellising. So Tactical, I'll have you a little place there where you can like monitor comments. For some reason, he just walked up with a reciprocating saw. My plan, and then you've got a camera, so it's duct taped on. You know, I'm going to take some paracord, and we're tying it down here and up there. And I'm just going to work on this while I talk to y'all. If you want to hear about anything, just, let me know. But I thought it'd be fun to do the Garden 30 this way today. What I want is these tomatoes to climb in front of this window so that I can get shade on this window from the south sun, which is super hot. And last week, God apparently turned up the furnace in Tennessee. If it sounds like you need to pee right now, that's because the hydroponic system is running here into the sump. So, it might be better to do this differently. Anybody have anything fun? Say, Pia Prepper's on. Yeah. People just saying hi right now. Survival trellising, exactly. I hear a lot about the state of the world and the things we need to do to prep. And I am not against prepping. I'm not against having a deep pantry. I also think we need skills. We need lots and lots of skills. So this one's going to go under here, but not the hose, and up. Awesome. Yeah, tickets went on sale this morning for October. Price went up a little bit because Nicole ran the numbers. And I'm trying to keep those tickets as cheap as I can, but the event tent ain't cheap. Might be more in October. And that is what it is. Never mind. I'll just run up and down the thing. What I need is this spool on a way to feed it. So they're up to 75. Doing the best I can to keep expenses down, but things cost money there. And they went on sale today. But the other thing that's really important, I don't know if the camera's aimed right, but what's really important is that, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tomatoes. 1, 2, okay. 1, 2, 3, okay. Just have to see how much cord I need. Speaker application is up, and the demo application is up. If you fill that out, you may be performing or demonstrating at the next Self-Reliance Festival. And if that happens, then that'll be awesome. You might have something awesome to add. I don't know. I'd like to know. We have a couple speakers we've talked to. Tim Toolman is definitely coming. We don't know what the this is why you keep a redneck around. He's about to turn this into a spool for me. Anyway, Tim Toolman's coming from Canada unless they lock down the border for some reason. And also Joel Riles is going to come back. So we've got a lot happening. And I mean, that's what I know now, but I don't know who's gonna apply. So what comments do we have? See, rednecks can't. I have a hard time monitoring. Will goats eat tomatoes? I was thinking about planting them along the goat pen fences. Goats will eat anything. Will they eat your tomato plants? That I don't know, because my goats have never gotten into my tomatoes. Do you know they'll eat peppers? Not so sure how good the tomato greens are for them. That's something I just don't know. So that's a good question. Dang, I'm late. Yeah, 30-day reviews. Get to it. Get to it. But yes, he is right. They will eat just about anything. Just needs to come by. If Tim really wants to go, even with the border friend. And Tim already made it to one of my events, guys. So he's already successfully gotten past the border. So we'll see how that goes. This almost worked, except for this gets hung up here. It's tied in a knot right there for some reason. Cool. Now it's getting stuck in my dress. Trust the redneck to have a solution that causes the lady's skirt to flip up. Yeah, he's totally laughing right now. So I'm excited that we got the website flipped that fast, because that was a lot of work this week when we were all exhausted, and lots of people were exhausted who worked on that event. So, kudos to everybody who helped me get that done. Mama Sauce did a lot of it. She and I worked yesterday after having feverish talks about what needed to change where. If you get to the website and you see an errant reference to the wrong dates, like, totally let us know, because we're not doing that intentionally. Are you going to tie yourself in a knot? No, you're not. And that's going to be fun. The demo, I haven't gotten any demo applications today, but I haven't been at my computer in like half a day because I have been doing work around here. Getting this tomato trellis. Hopefully this is enough cord, but if not, it is what it is. And I aim to have a pretty good draft agenda by, don't ever do this to your cord, because then you have to untangle it. I aim to have a pretty good draft agenda by midsummer. So getting demo applications in sooner rather than later is pretty important, because if I don't have any in, I'm just going to ask all my friends to come do stuff, which isn't the end of the world. But if you have something to add, then you should get your hat in the ring. That is what it is. How's this mic working, guys? Just out of curiosity, because I'm walking way far away from things. Can you still hear me? This is an exercise in the most inefficient way to run trellising ever. Ha ha. There we go. Back up the ladder. You guys hearing me okay? It's that same wireless mic I had yesterday. Remember that time she pulled the rope through in the wrong way and had it on the wrong side? Just in case you're wondering if I've ever put trellising up before like this, the answer is yes, and it was as awkward last time I did it as this time. So I learned no lessons on it. And I'm going to be putting even more trellising up under here because I want to train hops up under Taj Mahal, which has a clear roof, which is great until the oven turns on. You know what happens when the oven turns on? It gets hot under here. Okay, so the mic, I don't know, can you dig up that link for him? I don't know if you can. It's the one Jack recommends on T-Spaz. If you use T-Spaz, you'll kick him some. That he started using when he started Miyagi Mornings. So it actually goes through a cell phone quite nicely. And it has a 1/4-inch mic jack, but then you can reduce it down to 1/8 inch. My stupid Mac doesn't have the ability to do either of those things. So it's going through a Scarlett Solo Box, Focusrite. And I just wasn't sure how it was doing on distance. The only issue I have is the transmitter and wearing a dress today. So it's not clipped onto my pocket, which is kind of inconvenient. Homesteading in a dress is not for the faint of heart. But this isn't going too badly, is it? The part where I don't have enough paracord later is really fun, where I have to like weave it all through. But I just remembered that's what I did last time that worked better, is I was able to weave it through rather than do what I'm doing right now, which is pull a lot of cable. Live and learn. It doesn't matter how efficiently I do it. It matters that I get it done in my garden half. Oh, there goes my mic. That's the other problem with the mic, is the headset is kind of like chintzy and it wobbles around. But I have a lav mic I could wear. I just think this is better mic placement as long as I don't do that. Huh? What about TT Star? I don't know. Can you see? It's like, it's MPH05 right there on that thing right there. It's, you bought it. I paid you back because you bought it with your Amazon account, dude. Because I was at station at 19 East, and he's gonna Tactical has, and I was like, just buy me one right now, and I'll pay you back when I get home, and I did. I actually paid him back for that one, because it was so nice to have that mic at the station at 19 East, and it comes with a lav mic and this headset mic and other random weird mics that you can use, like you can put on your camera. Today was a big exciting thing that happened. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. So now I'm all happy. But yes. And oh, there's a wasp. Don't sting me. If I scream and fall off this ladder, you know why, okay? Yep. See? Okay, so then questions we ask ourselves why we're putting trellis up, like, why are all these citronella candles here, Nicole? You need to return these to Walmart. Hey, can you put these on the propane fire we're certainly not using until fall? Why is this milk crate here, Nicole? I don't know. See, somebody else needs the milk crate. So this is going pretty well. The fun part is when I trellis the tomatoes up, I'll see how many dang suckers are on there. I've got one that's looking a little stressed here. I'm going to pull it out and look at it. Yeah, that's why. Okay, so this one was a sucker over there, and I cut it off, and I just threw it into this system and hoped that it would root, and it has, but it's got some stressed leaves, so I'm going to cut all the bad parts off when we're done with this. I was about to make that same mistake again. So, yeah, only 2 more tomatoes to go, and I can start doing the fun work. Okay, this is the part of the ladder I don't love, where it's on 2 levels. I hope I don't die. Nope, it's pretty solid. Nicole doesn't love being on ladders, by the way. They can't hear you. Okay. Ooh! What's going on here? Boyd is asking how's Tactical. He said he's hot and tired, but less hot and tired than yesterday. And that's because the weather gods have seen fit to give us a bit of a reprieve. We had a big old thunderstorm come overhead today. No, well, just enough rain to get the pavement like wet, but no sizable rain. No. The ground is still dry as a bone. We need to run the sprinkler in the upper garden tonight for like an hour probably. Okay, so this is the stringing part I do. I need one more up at least. And I need one more up and down. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Any other good questions on there? Nobody's asking me about the extradition. The problem is I have to pull it through for a different reason now. He's dying. She's so inefficient. Oh my gosh, this is so inefficient. Hey, I didn't say my garden30 had to be efficient. It just has to be done every day. And I'll yeah. Yeah. The hard part is up top. But as long as every tomato has something to climb, we're good. And now oh wait, I'm pulling the wrong one. So what I did for this is I took a sucker, and this is a hydroponic system here. So there's a sump to the right that you probably can't see, and it pumps water up through this pipe and flows back down. In the pipe are net cups. And what I did is I took a rapid rooter plug and I ended up cutting it in half so I could put it around the stem to hold it in place on the thing. And then I shoved it in so about 12 inches of the root of the tomato was in the pipe, and it was down like because the water is flowing through, so some of it was in the water. So it's kind of like putting a flower in a vase, only the water's moving. And I went away for a week and I came back and it had a whole bunch of roots. That's how I did it. Yeah, all the hairs on the stem will turn into roots. If you don't have that, you can take it and just take a cup, preferably one that light doesn't get through, that's dark. If you have one, I have these, and wrap it in tin foil to make it dark, whatever. And then, sorry, that was a big reach. And then you just leave it and check the water so it doesn't get weird and moldy, and it'll root. It will definitely root over time. And if you're worried about it, take multiple suckers and do that. If you want, like go, whoa, there's a step down there. 2 to 1 isn't bad. You guys almost saw me fall on my face. That's why you're watching this, is just in case I fall on my face, right? Yeah, so that's how you do it. And they root. Tomatoes root almost effortlessly. The other thing I have done is just take the sucker, put it straight in the ground. See, I measured this wrong because I didn't realize I was going diagonal back there. So you just put it in the ground and have some shade over it so it's not getting just harshed by the sun, and then it'll root in the ground. In fact, if you have a leggy tomato that you get that you need to put in the ground, something we do is we take the tomato and make a big hole and bury most of the root, and that, or most of the stem, and that becomes the root. See, there's garden supplies over here. They shouldn't be over here. It should be over there. Kind of a joint in my running here. I did almost fall. almost fell off the ladder. And then it was going to be like, Nicole Sauce went to the ER. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully not. I got stuff to do next week. How is it that I just tightened that whole thing and I still, okay, perfect. Just enough. I feel like I want more though. I always want more. I feel like 6 inches would make my life easier. Oh, that's why. So. That wasp is back. You're about to see me do the bee hair scream move. What else do you guys want to hear about? Self-reliance tickets are on sale. It's not that big news. We all knew that was coming. Chicken processing workshop is sold out. That's pretty cool. I'm excited to process me some birds. Coming soon here. Huh? They have 2 weeks. They'll be fatter. Last time we did this, we're like, are they going to be big enough? And then we had pterodactyls. Okay, so the trellising's done, except for I need to tie off the other end. Got a lighter? Guys, the problem with doing garden 30 at this time of day is the sweat. It's really freaking hot out here, even though it's not as hot as it was. Okay. Some people use like scissors. I use garden shears. What's everybody been doing this week? Anything exciting? So I'm just hearing all this prep, and I get it. Like, if you don't have a deep pantry, you really should address that right now. But if you know how to grow the food, you're going to be in a better place long term. If you have ways like these tomatoes, do you know how much I spent on tomato seeds this year, Tactical? $0. The reason I spent $0 on tomato seeds is I collect them every year. And that's that is the deal. So the tomatoes pay for themselves. I do spend money on electricity to do this with them, but maybe more. Okay, so what we got here, tomato 1 is 6 inches tall and does not need trellising. Therefore, we shall move on to tomato 2. Woo! Getting in my garden. Where's my tie stuff? Tactical's going to get my tie stuff. So now the second tomato, the problem is the third tomato and the second tomato are hard to discern. So I'm looking at this, and it's looking a little, it actually looks a little sketchy to me. There's no fruit on it, but I got that nice sucker right there that has no disease on it. So I'm going to be brutal. Tomatoes love having their hair cut, and then I'm just going to wrap that around on this one. And then it's got a second sucker that can go up that second cord. This one, on the other hand, looks great. It also is a collection of lots of suckers. This sucker does not need to be here. See, here's my twine. Thank you. Probably abandoned it over by the other tomatoes. So it comes up, though, and it goes into a Y. Why? So we're going to just put this one here, gently, trying not to break it. I get so pissed off when I break the good ones. This is my bedroom window. It's shading too. So like, I don't like my bedroom getting super hot. And this is why I need the ties, because I can loop this around and it will mostly hold, but it could use a little help from a friend here. So I'm just going to tie it up a little bit on this one, because these two have been used to being near each other, and now I'm training them away from each other. So a little extra support, ladies. We all know what that's like, right? Any comments from the peanut gallery? Guys, if we're gonna have a conversation while I do garden 30, you got to bring stuff up. I'm saying. I mean, I can only stream of consciousness at you for so long. It is easier to do this without the video going. I'm faster. Of course, then you don't get video documentation of me falling off the ladder that you were all hoping would happen. That must mean you really love me. You want to see me fall off that ladder. I think we... He's in an attic. Yeah. They taste like the best, freshest tomatoes you can get. The nutrition... So I have some in the dirt. I do not taste a difference, and I'm a super taster. Now, this one's a special case tomato. Whew. This is the one that rooted too, I think. They taste the same, but we also do some things that are non-traditional, where Tactical makes worm casting tea, which, by the way, we need some of that this next week. And I think that adds to it. I also use Texas tomato food, but they taste fantastic. I made all my salsas, not all of my salsas. I made a lot of my salsas out of them last year. And then the tomato sauce I have, it's great. Very tomatoey flavored. Unlike the store tomatoes, which usually kind of taste like they've been on the road a little too long. So this one's going to be the hard one. This one may require an extra set of hands. My reliable witness. Yeah, well, that way nobody will, accused of hitting me or anything. Okay, this one's kind of weird. So I'm just looking at this, and it's all a tangled up mess. And what happened is it divided there, and it's got a little loop-de-loop that if I unloop-de-loop it, it will fail. So this one I'm going to be careful with. Okay. You mean these? On this? I just do this. And I do that. Wait, you have to put it out in front. So you tie it like you're tying your shoe. And then tie it like you're tying your shoe again. That's it. That's all I do. That's the knot. I have to say, any knot that will hold is fine on this. I don't need something super strong to hold tomatoes here, because what's going to happen is they're ultimately going to spiral up the cord. And then, okay, so this one's scary. I'm going to tie it here. They spiral up and they eventually start holding themselves with their own strength. I'm just using this to guide them where I want them. And I don't tie it tight. I tie it loose, but under one of the branches or one of the leaf things, because these stems are going to get thicker. And so if you tie it too tight, what happens? Don't break. Ah! Damn it. I knew that was going to happen. I was trying to avoid it. It was all twisted up. Well, now I'm cutting the whole dang thing off right there. Make sure I don't cut the stem. I was trying to save one because it had some blossoms on it, and I was hoping it would set fruit this week still, because we're in a bit of a situation where it's about to get too high temperature wise for fruit set. So anyway, but I knew better when I looked at it. See now. Yeah. No, I tie them loose. So 30-day review just said he didn't want it to get pinched in. And now I have this other sucker down here that I didn't cut off because I knew I had about a 50-50 chance of successfully getting that other one to go up the cord. It's okay though. I'll still get my shade. So I leave about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch gap in the loop. I'm really just trying to guide them to the cord. And they'll do real well. This one just has a couple stressed looking leaves. I'm cutting them off because... Okay, so now this next one, I see lots of suckers. So I'm going to start by trimming the suckers before I try to train this one up. And it may share space with that one because it's got some seriously vibrant growth. So what I'm looking for is when when the vine goes up and a branch goes out, am I on the camera still? When the vine goes up and a branch goes out, if there's a third thing that comes out between those two things, that's a sucker. I'm getting rid of those from the top down because I want a couple of vines off the tomato, I don't want to put all its energy into suckers, but this is what you can root into a new plant. It's so easy to do. I know that I'm going to get 200 pounds off this. How many plants are over there? I got 125 pounds off this system last year with fewer tomatoes. So I'm anticipating about 200 off this. So not per plant, no. I know my total for the year. Okay, now we are, 15 plants there. So this, what do we got going on here? Okay. So this one I'm being pretty brutal with, and I'm trying not to lose this. There are different schools of thought. So the question is, are there any reasons to keep the suckers in place? There are different schools of thought on that. Oh, you know, it would have been smart going on the other side of that. I still can. So tomato growers claim that you get better production if you only allow a tomato to branch 2 or 3 times if it is a vining variety, which I forget the name for right now because I'm on video. And so most of them will Y them out pretty much and then allow 2 or 3 vines to climb. And what happens is when the vine gets to a certain size, it starts putting flowers on, and then you get tomatoes on those flowers. And if it's putting its effort into making new vines, the flowers don't come until later in the cycle of that new vine. So the theory is that if you don't cut most of the suckers off, the energy will go into vining and not fruiting. I've had tomatoes that I just let go on the ground and I let them sucker out and they were fine. The problem was they got blight because they were too dense. And so I like to keep them trimmed more for the, I might need your help with this one. We'll see. I like to keep them trimmed more for the aspect that they will, they have airflow, which can help keep molds and blights and things of that nature from getting on them. And this is an impressive plant. I really don't want to break this one. So, whew, got it. Oh my word. So that's why. So you don't have to cut the suckers off, but you can. And a bush variety of tomato, you don't worry about it. This is a viner. Ooh, see, that's the scary. Can you cut me a cord? See, this one I'm not going to wrap around because it will break if I do. So I'm going to tie it up. And I know people who run professional greenhouses will do 2 vines only. That's the number they've told. I'm willing to do 3. As I said, I got a lot of production off this system last year. This one's doing really well. I've got one sketchy looking leaf there. I've got tomatoes down low already starting. And I have this other offshoot and no trellis for it. So what I'm going to do with this is probably string it back this way over time. So I'll rotate it here and have it go down low across, which serves my purpose of shading the window. And then there's this other one pointed down that's under everything that's out of here. So now that this is done, I'm going to go back through and look for suckers that I don't want. So this plant, for example, I broke it off. There's another sucker coming down low, and I'll just train that sucker up the other trellis. And if it grows as fast as it did last week, I had about 2 or 3 feet of growth in 6 days. I went to a Self-Reliance Festival and came back and I was like, holy cannoli, these tomatoes are looking like really good. Chicken Hawk. What are you saying, Chicken Hawk? Okay, so for this system, when I started these plants, um, I did not put aspirin in the original water, but when I transplanted them into this system, I throw a few aspirin. It's not baby aspirin, it's just normal aspirin. I throw a few aspirin into the water all the time. And so far, I have dodged my usual blight. This is a Siegler striped. I now know which tomato it is. I also didn't mark which tomatoes are which here because it becomes very obvious when they fruit. And I'm not selling them, so I don't care until they fruit. And then I know anyway. For the plants I put in the ground, I did when I transplanted them into pots, I put a quarter aspirin per tomato. And then when I transplanted them into the garden, they got an aspirin per tomato. And I've had a few tomatoes up there start to get blight, but the ground up there is not super, it's not very fertile. And so the places where the ground was particularly bad, they were starting to get the blight. The other ones haven't. And the other thing I know is that I did not personally put the tomatoes in. Tactical did, and he didn't know everywhere where I had planted tomatoes. So it's entirely possible that he missed a tomato with his tomato varying or his aspirin varying. But excuse me, now I know what's causing the scratch in my throat. It's tomatoes. Holy cow! I need water. Can you get me water? So that's basically what I did, and so far it appears to be working. We haven't had early blight except for a couple of plants I destroyed up the hill. All of my wall tomatoes, and I'm going to turn this camera around. You can see how the other wall is. This is what it looks like on the other side. Those were already trellised, and as you can see, they're huge. They're up as tall as my house. And I have some down low that I need to train sideways because those need to shade the black buckets from the sun. These, as you can see, are not as tall. These were the smallest tomatoes when I put the wall of tomatoes up. And so they're growing slower, except for that one on the end. But those will probably look like the other wall in about a week. So, yeah. Ooh, thank you. I might have said it already, but how far apart are the plants? They are 14 inches on the pipe tomatoes and 12 inches on the wall I just showed you. Saved by the water. Thank you for that bailout. So this trellis system's done, and probably technically my garden 30 is over, is it? How long have we been on, guys? Boop, boop, boop. I don't know. Yeah, technically it's over, but what I'm going to do is clean up this mess and then flow into the weekend. I might do some Garden 30 live streams this weekend because, as I said, I'm getting ready to go out of town. So I'm doing 2 of my 5 Garden 30s on Saturday and Sunday and 1 on Monday, and then I'm gone until Friday. And when I'm on the road, I may live stream, but it certainly won't be a Garden 30 because I won't be here to garden. What I do with these tomato greens that I am not rooting right now is I throw them in the garbage, not the compost. And that's because I have PTSD about blight on my tomatoes. But this wall of tomatoes has 0 signs of any blight. It has some sunburned leaves, and I've got a little bit of nutrient deficiency. Did you put the Epsom salts in yet? We need to put Epsom salts in over there. Yeah, sweet. I will put the Epsom salts in. So I hope. Tricks to tomato and dirt growing. 2 things. Mulch is your friend, so you keep the moisture in the soil, but well-drained soil, and don't flood them. And the nutritional balance of the soil. If it's a very good soil, you have fewer tomato problems. And I think a lot of tomato problems happen because people are first-time gardening. They put tomatoes in soil, in ground that they're working for the first time this year that may or may not be ready. And that's fine. The problem is once you get blight in your property, you have blight. And in the South, blight is a big issue. In Oregon, I never had problems with it. In Oregon, the problem was it was not hot enough to grow tomatoes. Here, we get tomatoes, and then right now, the blossoms don't set above, I think, was it 92 or 94 degrees? We've been above 94 degrees. So I've got some tomatoes already. I'm really hoping that these blossoms here set over the weekend because I have tomatoes further down on this so that we keep getting tomatoes because we're going to go into 100-degree weather next week. And that's about 2 months early. It's not unheard of in June, but we usually get mid 80s to mid 90s starting in late June through July. And then in August, it goes dog days and we go wilt and all my plants go, I hate you. Instead of doing that in August, we're doing that in June this year. And that's fine. Life goes on. We can totally do that in June. Any other comments? All right, guys, thanks for joining me for my accountability half hour. I am actually from here going to take some nutrient readings on the water with this, which is a hydrometer. And I'm going to take a water sample here to see how we're doing because what happened, we went through about 2 gallons of water today for these tomatoes. And the nutrient level here is super high. It's at 2,000. I don't even know how it got that high because I haven't put nutrient in that system in weeks. And I'm going to take the little bottle of aspirin. I'm going to give it a couple of aspirin. I'm doing about 1 per gallon. It's very scientific what I'm doing with the aspirin this year. And I'm going to top that system because it wants water. Now, my cold water comes straight from a spring at the bottom of the hill, so I don't have any issues with the water. And I do have a water softener. And the way we set up the water softener was so it only does the hot water side. So the dishwasher doesn't get the scale buildup. The washing machine is mostly hot water, so it doesn't get the scale buildup. And the cold water is just straight up water from my creek. So it's hard water. It's got whatever's coming out of the ground here mineral-wise and none of the salt from the water softener. Because we were having to run all sorts of water through the system. So, yeah. 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 So I'm using Texas tomato food and I want a reading of, what is it, 11 to 1,600 parts per million on that. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head. It actually doesn't have to be that specific. It's just that they have a specific number for people going for ideals. It's really great when you put a ladder in your way and you can't walk off with the hose. So the way I take the reading is I take water out and I put it in my little cup right here, my Zoldak Victory mug, and it's just, measuring what's in the water, how much. So right now I'm at 1647 now, having diluted that from 12. So I'm still high enough with nutrients in there because it's the EC meter is electro something. I don't remember what C stands for. So it's shooting electricity through that, I think, of some sort and measuring. I think it's a light issue, but I don't know. I don't know how it works. I should totally learn. Somebody in comments probably knows how it works. But the reading I get is how many parts per million are in the water of the nutrient that we put in. And my goal, I like to keep it closer to 12, 13. That's at 16. That makes me happy. If you get too much, you burn the leaves out. So I take this reading once a week unless I read and the system's really messed up. Like if it's really super low, like when I got back from Self-Reliance Festival, this other system was super deficient. It was 300 parts per million. Right now, it is 869. That's nowhere near where I want to be. So I'm adding nutrient to this. The reason it takes me a while to balance that out after I have had, after I've had a drop like that is I don't want to like fry the system, right? I just want to bring it up. And you're looking at like a teaspoon and a half per gallon of water here is what it takes to bring it back up. But then I have to estimate how many gallons of water I'm adding. And with it being as hot as it's been, I've been adding water every single day. Like it looks like I'm going to add about 3 gallons of water to the other system. That being said, this system from a water usage efficiency standpoint doesn't lose a bunch of water to evaporation except for from the plants, which is pretty cool. So when I think about, we are also needing to water the garden this year because of the drought conditions we've had. The amount of water I'm using to top these systems once every few days is not very much water. And that's a good thing, right? Because it's a more efficient use of water. The plant gets exactly as much water as it needs. And then the evaporation is through aspiration through the leaves, because we have covers that go over the sump and the sun's not hitting the sump. So it's actually a pretty efficient way to grow. It's also less blighty than dirt. I am starting over here to get some discolored leaves that are not blight. And that's something I've got to troubleshoot. That's why we've got the Epsom salts. Jack Spirko was here and he's like, that might be Epsom salts. And I'm like, oh yeah, some magnesium couldn't hurt. I do use calcium and magnesium. Wow, that made a cool noise. Yeah, and the link to the EC meter is in the comments. So just put a couple of Epsom salts in, not too many because salt, but plants like salt. And then sometimes I will foliar feed these with Garrett juice spray, but I haven't in about 3 weeks because things were getting better. We're like busy with Self-Reliance Festival. Anyways, what's this question? Do I overwinter my suckers? No, I don't. I overwintered one tomato on my windowsill. It's giving me tomatoes right now, but I usually pack it in for the winter. I have thought about overwintering the suckers because I have a friend in Texas who does that, and he gets a big jump on fruit. But I have just not set up a system in my house, in my limited space in my house, to do that, because what I'm growing in my grow system in the winter is greens that I'm eating. That doesn't mean I never will. It just means I'm not right now. It is something I would like to do, and I'll totally share those experiences once they happen. Did he catch a mouse or is he chasing his tail? No, he's chasing his tail. Okay. I was really excited. The cat had something black he was chewing on. It was his own tail. So, state of the world, guys. Learn some skills. Stop panic prepping. Start actually building that deep pantry. That's all I can say. Develop those relationships with each other. Help each other out. The more of us who stick together through hard times, the easier the hard times are. And that's something I've learned a lot over the last 5 years of this podcast that I've had, 6 years now, is all the people that have come out of the woodwork who are doers, who are good people. And we help each other in hard times because everybody has hard times at different times. That makes the community stronger. And it's been something I've been thinking about lately as everybody is expecting crashes to come. If we plan that crashes are going to come, we make the wrong decisions. If we plan to be prepared for the things most likely to happen to us, if a crash comes, we are better prepared to deal with that too. Because the thing about crashes is it's very unpredictable what happens while also being predictable, right? That's what I think. Anyway, I hope you have a great weekend and that you accomplish something good and that you have some accountability too on your overgrown behind garden that you want to get food from or whatever else you're working on. Have a great weekend.